It's Thursday night, aka Friday Eve. Welcome to the Lantern stream where we are vlogging our CCIE journey. And tonight we're still working on the written exam, 11 days to go. And I want to share a couple things that I've been working on with just a limited time available to me to get ready for that impending exam. So tonight, first of all, we're going to mention the wallpaper of the day. This is Mars again. NASA image of the day, courtesy of NASA. These are formations of ice seen in a photo. Pretty cool stuff. Ice on Mars. Amazing. At least that's the theory that they have on that. We've got the chat open. If you got anything you want to talk about or chime in, feel free to give us a shout out. Yeah, the title of tonight's blog is Another Honest Blueprint Inventory. And essentially what that means is I've gone through a lot of the topics that I think I stumbled on during the last attempt back in June, on June 10th. And I've got to a point where I needed to just re-strategize for the next, 11 days and identify my focus areas. One thing I do know is it's going to be a lot of memorization or memory recall, preparing for memory recall, just massaging the memory and not really going in depth into a lot of topics, but just by way of review, understanding what I need to have ready for those 11 days. So what that means is I want to do a blueprint inventory. I have this document out here, folks. In fact, I'm just going to open the drive share, which I'm going to put here in the chat. If anybody, this is all accessible, right? Under shared folder, there is right in the root. I did some modifications of this today because I wanted it to be clear. I have my written blueprint checklist, but I wanted to make this usable for anyone. So I went in here and edited a little bit. I took out all my preparedness ratings here. In fact, let me open mine first. Yeah, written blueprint checklist. So I went through today and I have preparedness A through C on all these. But what I did is I added a column here. Let me use my point. I added a column here for the general category because when you get down here, you want to know, that's VPN technologies. I redid my preparedness, and of course, I have something that calculates. You put in your test date, and it just does a countdown for you, right? And every time you open it, tells you how many days you have left. So this is available for everybody. I made a copy of it and blanked it out. So CCIE routing switching written exam blueprint checklist evolving 1.0 blank, because as many know, there's going to be an evolving 1.1 coming out in August. And I don't know, I may come in here and update. I've actually had people say that this was useful to them. I plan to do this for the lab as well. And next time I'll do that, I'll do a blank and then I'll make a copy and do mine so that people can easily download this and modify it themselves. But again, all you have to do is modify test date, and then you can fill out your own preparedness on all these subjects. So that was a change I made. I'm sure I'll update it for 1.1, even though I'm going to pass in 11 days. I will probably update it for the benefit of everyone. So anyway, I went through my preparedness areas and I marked these again, clear C. So these are, I still have quite a few, and I'm trying to be as honest as possible. And what I mean by that is when I looked at explain MLD, I could kind of explain it. Maybe it could have been a B, but any sort of hesitation or doubt in my mind, I marked it as a C, right? I've been going over PPP, so, I feel pretty good about the principles, but implementing and troubleshooting it, I need to review that some more. So that's marked as a C, for example. And I'm probably being ungenerous to myself doing this, but I want to be sure. So what I'm going to do is I will go through, in these areas, I'm going to go through the neckercubes, Jedi cases, flashcards, and we're going to go through the official cert guides, volume 1 and 2, and the memory tables, and hone in on these areas, right? and I'm going to review them over and over and over and over, and I'm going to start here at the top and just go through these for the next 11 days. I'm also going to mix in, of course, some boson testing. I got to where I pretty much was, he's very knowledgeable on the breadth of topics covered there and the depth, the way the boson material saw it. I was very familiar with that material. So I'm going to continue to, I'm keeping the momentum going. So I want to continue to rehash that in my mind, not lose it, not knock it off the back of the truck, as they say. But yeah, and my thinking is, whatever you are weak on, that is what you're going to be tested on. So, granted, there's things in here that I would like to review because I feel more comfortable with them. That's exactly the opposite approach that needs to be taken, study for the written. You hone in on things, being truly honest with yourself, and say, man, I really don't know this like I need to. I just know very superficial knowledge. And again, I'm probably being unfair to myself, but again, I'm being extra cautious. I've been burned once, folks. I say burned. That's probably a negative way to term it, but anyway, I've failed once, so I've learned my lesson. So yeah, we're going to use memory tables, we're going to use flashcards, and a little bit of boson here and there. And we may do some reading, digging into some RCs, whatever's necessary. If I go over a flashcard or I go over a memory table and something's just really unclear and it's bugging me, I have that little sensor inside, something that bugs me. I'm like, I just need to learn more. I need to go a little deeper. We're trying to do that too much, but in those cases, I'll go to RFC, I'll go to the cert guides and find what I need to. Big Abe says, hey, Big Abe, I agree. Whenever you are weak on, they will ask you the most questions on. Exactly. That has been my experience thus far. So I'm going to try to get ahead of the game this time and, at least get in front of those areas that I'm really weak in, So that's really all I got tonight. That's what I'm going to be working on, folks. It's going to be, I'm in battle mode here, putting on the war paint, getting ready to give battle. That's where I'm looking forward to the weekend because, man, I'm going to be taking plenty of caffeine. I'm going to get my sleep. And that's one thing I've been tempted to do. Like, I get in the scramble mode when there's not many days left, and I'm tempted to give up some of my routine. Like, for example, exercise, workout. I devote, hour and a half a day, maybe a little more, sometimes 2 hours to working out during the week. And I've been tempted to say, you get a little nervous. You're like, okay, man, I could be using that time for study. But I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to keep my good habits going. Go to bed early. I have to get up early to go work out, so I have to go to bed early so that I get enough sleep. But I've been tempted to stay up late, and I'm just trying to have the mental discipline to keep a routine of what you can. And then all the free time that I have this weekend, I'll take a few breaks here and there, but, man, I'm going to be hitting it hard. hitting it hard. And again, like I always do, my exam is on a Monday, the 23rd. So I'm going to have the whole weekend prior and a Friday off. So I'm going to do a little relaxing. I'll probably study hard Friday, Saturday, relax on Sunday, and then on Monday go in for the exam. I think my exam is like 10 a.m. I don't remember exactly. I don't like to do exam. My mind is sharper around 9, 10 a.m. in the morning, 10, 11. So that's when I try to take the exam. Anyway, the other meat chunks I've got, I did get a chance while I was working and not in conference calls or WebEx seminar, WebEx meetings. I did get a chance to listen to most of this new Network Collective episode, which is awesome. We just had this discussion here on IPv6 NAT, and, we went over the RFC informational document on whether that's necessary. Well, the debate rages on. The debate continues. I tweeted about this. It reminded me of philosophy and Socrates. Nick Russo and I were just exchanging like some books that we are, we're both Audible fans. and I haven't had a lot of time to do reading. I love reading. That's probably, like I've told people before, when I retire, just put me on a beach with some whiskey and some beers and give me a stack of books, and I'm going to be fine. I love to read. I love reading nonfiction, some fiction novels. A lot of authors who've been dead now for over 100 years. Hey, show. So yeah, we're talking about that, and it's funny. Philosophy is one of my favorite subjects, and Socrates and really Platonic philosophy is that there are some things that one big debate in philosophy that's never been solved since ancient Greek times is there absolute truth, or is there relative truth? And that seems to be the argument with Nat. I mean, some people say it's relative, some people say it's absolute in terms of security and privacy. It's a great discussion by some very intelligent people today. Very engaging subject. And it wasn't just Nat either. They talked in depth about people collecting our information. Show says, during that, I was yelling at the radio in my car. It was funny. As you watch this, folks, you'll see, I know you probably didn't get to see a video show, but it's funny. Whenever and I really respect Tom Hollingsworth. You were trying to influence my opinion. Whenever I watch Tom, I have a lot of respect for Tom Hollingsworth. He speaks his mind, and he's a very bright commentator and is really in tune with things. And he was trying really hard. You could tell by his facial expressions several times during this Network Collective episode where he was holding back and trying to, let everybody speak. And, it's funny. It's like one of these very debated topics in networking that is never going to go away. Yeah, only audio. Well, if you get a chance to go back, or if you ever watch it again, watch his face and a couple of the other commentators too. They're just like several times holding back when he's comment, but very entertaining way, but very educational as well, and more excellent content from Network Collective. Neckercube flashcards than that before. Show I agree with some points from both those guys, but also disagree with some. Yeah, that was somewhat of my take as well, and that was peppered with the very thoughtful write-up that I read on the RFC, the informational RFC, and why the IETF has not put forward a NAT proposal, a standards track for NAT and IPv6. They kind of argued both sides, and they did it in a very intelligent, way. So I was kind of reflecting back on some of those points as well as they were talking, because that was very fresh in my mind. Some of the stuff I'll forget soon, but very, very good, and it's very important for anyone, because this is good fertile ground for interview questions, folks. So you need to be knowledgeable about it. You need to be familiar with both sides of the arguments, and you need to consider, I think, why some people can see it one way and others can see it completely another way. You don't have to agree, like Show is pointing out here. You don't have to agree, but it's good to listen and to be informed of what the opinions are, because you never know who's going to ask you about this stuff in an interview question and what their opinion is. So just be prepared to argue, I guess is all I can say. And this show today will teach you how to do that in a good way. So anyway, great content and networking community as always. Also watched Show's video last night. He got Even G working, which is great. I've known, it's interesting, there have been a lot of people who, in other forums too, that's been one of the biggest complaints about Even G Community Edition. Like I said, I think it's integrated, more tightly integrated with the Pro version, but, and again, I think a lot of it has to do with, it was interesting to see your solution. I looked on my network adapters too. I've had a few issues with Wireshark on a work machine that I use that is Windows 7, and one of my coworkers says, for example, capturing on a VPN virtual interface AnyConnect client, for example. I have one of the coworkers that claims he's able to do it. I'm unable to do it, and I've looked at other. And if any of you have any comments on this or seen this, when you do a VPN connection, are you able? It creates a virtual adapter essentially. Are you able to Wireshark capture traffic on that virtual adapter? I am not able to. What I've read online is that it's just not possible. That must have to do with the order of when you think about, for example, encryption on a router, right? Or NAT translation on a router. And the order of operations, it seems that encryption happens before packets are transmitted on the interface where Wireshark is listening. And I say Wireshark, and I know it's actually, there's a driver that Wireshark relies on to actually do the packet capture. Anyway, I've not seen that work, but I was looking earlier and thinking about Show's video, and I have a bunch of adapters too. You can on Linux, okay, and that makes sense. And this user, I think he's using a Mac. One of my coworkers, he's he's a security firewall person too. That's actually a specialty, and he's able. And I figure it must be because he's running on a Mac and I'm on Windows. Windows, interestingly enough, I've done some troubleshooting on Windows and looked under the covers a little bit. When you have two adapters in Windows, it essentially creates a routing table, right? An internal routing table. And Windows, at least Windows 7, I don't know if 10 is any better, it makes very poor decisions, routing decisions. Generally, in a lot of operating systems, it will use the faster link or interface. Okay, Big A, thinks you can on a Mac as well. It must just be me on a Windows box. I'm not one of the privileged ones on our team that ended up with a Mac, although I'd love to have one. My last job, I had a Mac as my primary computer, laptop. But anyway, so Windows makes some very interesting forwarding decisions, and you cannot really control, as much as you try, you cannot, control the algorithm that much. And I'll give you an example. For example, I have a gig link, a wired link, and I have a wireless link that is 100 megabits per second, I believe. Well, not truly 100 megabits per second, right? But the system knows that it's wireless. It knows the throughput. And it generally tends to prefer the wireless link over the wired link. You can try to set a metric. There is a way on Windows to change your metric, but it's still, Windows doesn't always honor that metric configuration. It's very odd. That's one reason I really like, and if I had a choice, I would be using Linux or a Mac. My personal computer, of course, is a Mac, and I've used Linux before on a work laptop because you have more control. But anyway, I digress, guys. I'm just glad Show got that working in his Windows box. And I think we'll wrap it up here. I got another call here to do in a minute, and then I'm going to be hitting the books again, hitting the flashcards. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Wish you all the best. It's Thursday night, so I hope you got your weekend plans ready in terms of putting in some time for labbing or studying, and, that you'll make the most of it. Big Abe says, Windows used to turn the wireless off when the wired connection was active. For some reason now it doesn't reliably. Yeah, mine does not do that. There may be, I don't know, maybe there's a group policy you can use to do that. But yeah, mine doesn't. As a matter of fact, sometimes in order to, I'll roam with the wireless, and then I'll hook up to, I have like a little docking station for work. I'll have to go in there and disable the wireless link to get it to use the gig connection. I've tried everything. But it's Windows. It's like I don't have a lot of motivation. I know it's gunked up. It's Windows. I'm only going to go so far to troubleshoot a Windows issue and just work around it. But yeah. But yeah, I hope you guys are ready. I'm off Friday nights from streaming, but I will be vlogging Saturday and Sunday as the days wind down. And I wish you all the best. A great weekend. And we shall see you here on Saturday. I'll post in Discord. If you're not in Discord yet, folks, definitely check out the link. Both Show and I use that to speak to communicate with our viewers. So definitely check us out, and we shall see you back here soon this weekend on the Land Tamer stream. Send you all the good bits. Have a great Thursday night.